I have been hoping for and yearning for and tweeting about and screaming into a microphone about the need for there to be more positive ads about Joe Biden.
Trump is the protagonist of our ads? I mean, honestly, are you fucking kidding me?
Welcome to another episode of Campaign Experts React, where we break down 2020 ads and political media, explain what the people behind them were trying to accomplish, and decide whether or not they did a good job. I'm Dan Pfeiffer, former communications director for Barack Obama. Joining me today is messaging and communications expert Anat Shenker-Osorio, the founder of ASO Communications and host of the podcast Words to Win By. Anat, thank you for joining us. You are actually an expert, so we are very excited to have an actual expert on Campaign Experts React. So thank you for joining us. And I was wondering, before we got into these ads, you could tell our viewers what the race class narrative it is and what drove you to do that work.
Yeah. And first of all, thank you for having me. That's an all too kind introduction. And basically what the race class narrative is it's a three-part structure, and the order really matters. Every winning race class narrative message begins in a shared value. That could sound like, no matter what we look like or where we come from, most of us believe that people who work for a living ought to earn a living, if you're going into a union message. Or whether we're white, black, or brown, all of us want to move through our communities without fearing for our lives or our loved ones, if you are obviously about to talk about what's happening presently with the protests. And then it moves second to a statement of the problem. And the way that we state the problem is by talking about deliberate division. What that sounds like in language could be, but today, a wealthy and powerful few divide us from each other based on what we look like or where we live, so we don't join together to demand the health care all our families need, if that's what you're talking about. And then thirdly, it comes to a full circle with an insistence on cross-racial solidarity. So that could sound like, by joining together across race and across place, we can make this a place where freedom is for everyone. Keith Ellison certainly uses this message. Elizabeth Warren notably would use it. AOC does versions of it.
And I'm proud to have been fighting for systemic solutions like Medicare for all, a federal jobs guarantee, and the end to mass incarceration. Today is a big day for people who have been left behind.
One of the ads we're going to be talking about is the first time I've seen Biden do it, at least in a sort of marquee ad kind of way.
That is a professional segue right there. Let's start with our first ad, which is from Black Visions Collective, which is one of the ads that you suggested.
Full disclosure, my team, we made that ad with Black Visions Collective. Where it showed significant inroads was in terms of changing people's perceptions about the protests, and specifically mobilizing Black voters and other people of color. That is where it really shined across all the ads that we tested. What that ad is it narrates Black excellence, and it narrates Black joy, and it narrates Black life. Other than the one image of the woman receiving the respirator, it is not a harms and horrors ad. And one of the most important findings that I've hammered through my career, I first saw this with work that I did in Australia on people seeking asylum in 2015, is that when we depict harms and horrors, so specifically in that case, when we showed images of people seeking asylum behind bars, it actually reinforced the opposition's story that immigrants were animals. You can get people maybe to feel sorry for those people, which is by definition still otherizing. If you're feeling sorry for those people, that's not you. And so what showing Black joy and Black excellence, Simone Biles, people throughout a life cycle, children, babies, etc., women in labor, it actually creates that bridge to empathy.
That ad blew me away for all the reasons you said, but also it is so important to get people's attention in this day and age, because if it's a digital ad, they're scrolling through their phone quickly, or it's a television ad, they may be about to fast forward or doing a two-screen experience where you look at Instagram while the commercials come on. And so you have to get people's attention. And that one does it in so many, quote unquote political ads. look exactly the same and they sound exactly the same, and they sort of like announce at the beginning, don't believe what you're about to hear. This is coming from people you do not trust.
It's the equivalent of when your romantic partner says to you, we need to talk. And so as soon as they say to you, we need to talk, whatever it is they were going to say, you're already like, like, I hate whatever it is you're going to say. So ads that look like political ads are essentially that equivalent. We are signaling to people, I'm going to talk to you about a political issue, which we know famously people abhor, right? People are like, I hate politics. I don't like politics. I don't like talking about politics. So we tip our hand and then we start talking to them.
You are not going to believe what the producers have put on my script. And in fact, this is so stupid I can't even read it, but it's so bad. They want me to say, quote, the data is in, and that when I say, quote, smash that subscribe button, people are more likely to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to smash something, subscribe to something, I don't know. The next ad we're going to look at, as you previewed, is an ad from Joe Biden's campaign.
The country is crying out for leadership. Leadership that can unite us, leadership that brings us together. I look at the presidency as a very big job, and nobody will get it right every time, and I won't either. But I promise you this, I won't traffic in fear and division. I won't fan the flames of hate. I'll seek to heal the racial wounds that have long plagued our country, not use them for political gain. I'll do my job and I will take responsibility. I won't blame others. I promise you, this job is not about me. It's about you. It's about us. To build a better future. That's what America does. We build the future. It may, in fact, be the most American thing to do. This is the United States of America. There's never been anything we've been unable to do when we set our mind to do it, and we've done it together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
So what was your reaction to how Biden used the race class narrative in that ad, and why do you think it works?
Yeah, I don't just think it works. I actually just completed a test of it. It's one of the most effective ads in terms of a high degree of statistical significance across a broad swath of the electorate, especially moderates, at moving people away from Trump and toward Biden. One of the most interesting things about it is that it doesn't name Trump. It does actually show images of Trump, but if you follow the script, Trump is never named. And the way that it narrates the evil that he does is fanning the flames of hatred, is deliberate division. The other thing that it does really fascinatingly, it actually says almost nothing about Joe Biden's resume. It is a pro-Biden ad that doesn't present us with, I did this and I accomplished that, nor does it really say much about his personal characteristics. What it does is it focuses in on the job of the presidency itself. So interestingly, the discourse isn't so much about who Biden is, it's about what the task at hand is.
I have been hoping for and yearning for and tweeting about and screaming into a microphone about the need for there to be more positive ads about Joe Biden. This isn't really about the Biden campaign, but just progressive generally need to help define Biden before Trump defines Biden. And so this is a positive Biden ad. Second, the best positive ads are implicit, if not nearly explicit contrast with the opponent. This is an ad that is positive for Biden, but is really about Trump and why Biden is the solution to that. And the third reason why I love this ad is, I remember when Biden announced his campaign, he talked about healing the soul of the country. And that felt to me a little off the moment when it happened, right? Where it's sort of like we were going to bring Republicans and Democrats together and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, and everything would be better post-Trump. And that's just not my view of politics and not my view of the Republican Party. But when healing the soul of the country is actually about the soul of a divided country in this moment, as an antidote to Trumpism and what Trumpism has wrought, I think it works. And so I thought it was an excellent ad that was authentic to what is best about Biden.
It offers an encapsulating metaphor at the end. So this build a better future. I think that claiming this future, even in this tenuous time where people are feeling rightly really, really anxious and scared, is incredibly important, especially when you consider that held up in contrast to Make America Great Again. The beautiful tomorrow that Republicans present, that Trump represents, is nostalgia, which requires no imagination. All you have to do is think, oh, I've seen that before on a poster, or I've seen that before in a TV show. Absolute bullshit, but easy to conjure in your mind. One of the hardest things about progressive messaging is it needs to provide a sense of that beautiful tomorrow. And that is where being on the left is just really, really hard. We've never lived in an America with racial equality. We've never lived in an America where working people actually had a fair return on their work. But we have to manufacture that out of pure imagination.
The last that we're going to look at is from Republican Voters Against Trump, which is yet another super PAC started by Never Trump Republican consultants.
Where is the president in a time of national emergency? Hiding. Hiding in his security bunker, watching his shows, afraid, alone. Not a leader.
Said supposing you brought the light inside the body.
Not a president, just a scared, incompetent.
Within a couple of days, it's going to be down to close to zero.
Embarrassment. You know that. Those who have worked with him know that.
The former Defense Secretary James Mattis accusing President Trump of being a threat to the Constitution.
Our allies know that. And our enemies know that. Everyone knows that. It's time for a competent president. Let's elect one.
We picked this ad for a couple of reasons. One is that it is different than a lot of the ads we've seen recently. There's been this trend, particularly since the Trump administration ordered the violent clearing of peaceful protesters from Lafayette Square for that photo op, that like a real sort of resurgence in ads and political videos that depict Trump as an authoritarian. And this one takes the opposite. And it, I think, does it in a relatively clever way, but I'm curious to get your take on the ad.
So if you actually look into soft Trump supporters, people are on the fence, people are still with him but not sure, etc. When you look at what is that source of attraction, it pretty much boils down to he's not politic, he's not PC, he makes decisive decisions, he's strong. If you understand that that's the Gordian knot you need to untie for the people who are still movable, then why? Why would you attempt to attack Trump by calling him an authoritarian strongman? You are actually feeding into the source of attraction, which, you don't understand, I don't understand, but some people hold. Instead, what we see is that the mode of attacking Trump that actually is most effective is through this lens of a weak loser. This idea that he is afraid, he is weak, he has no power.
When I first saw that ad, my initial take was that, one, the best Republican ad makers are working to defeat Trump, because those ads are better just from a pure craftsmanship point than any of the pro-Trump ads I've seen. But also that I thought it was another one of these ads that the Republicans, like the Lincoln Project, are doing. They're designed almost entirely to get Trump to react, so that he tweets and then they raise a bunch more money and they throw him off his game, which I think has some modicum amount of value. The way you say it actually serves probably two purposes. It probably drives Trump insane because he obviously knows he's weak and a loser and does not like to be called a weak loser, but is influential with voters. Now, when you sort of think about the task for defeating Trump, it involves two things, right? There's some group of voters who are soft Trump that we need to get. And then there's some group of people who did not vote in 2016 that Biden needs to persuade to get to him. Do you think the weak loser message works best with both of those compared to the authoritarian message?
Yeah. If you've decided you're going to talk about Trump, what I actually think works best is that you not talk about Trump. Yeah. I think that endless discourse about Trump is how we got Trump.
I need to mention that to our podcast producers, because that's a large part of what we do every week.
We've rendered this person the storyline. We've rendered this person the main character. And that is bullshit. I mean, we are living in a moment in which an incredible organized group of Black leaders across key states are literally risking their lives to go and confront a brutal police state. And Trump is the protagonist of our ads? I mean, honestly, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there are actual heroes doing work to make America what it pretends to be and what it wants to be and what I have to believe, perhaps because I'm pathologically optimistic, it has the opportunity to be. And we're not talking about them. We're not putting them at the forefront of our ads. As many people have remarked, right? Martin Luther King did not get famous for saying, I have a complaint, nor did he get famous for saying, I have a multi-bulleted list of policy proposals. There has to actually be a dream. You have to turn people out for something.
That is a very, very powerful message that I hope all of our candidates, our campaigns here. Anat, thank you so much for joining us. It was so much fun to talk to you, and hopefully we can talk again before this election's over.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for watching these ads with us. If you have any political media you'd like us to break down next time, please let us know in the comments. See you all next time.